Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a Matterport 3D floor plan on this single story 2,000 square foot home. We just finished the professional photos on this, so we're going to go inside and just make sure that it's prepped for the Matterport. This is an interesting house because there are tons of mirrors inside, so it's going to we're going to have to be diligent about marking the mirrors and windows as we're going through this house so that we don't have too many issues. So let's go ahead and head on inside and get it set up. All right, so I'm gonna turn on my Matterport right now just so that it can warm up. It usually takes like a minute to warm up while I go around the house just making sure that all the doors that I want open are open. I'm not gonna be worried about these small closets. So I can just make sure that I can flow through this house without any issues. And all these doors slide into the wall, so it makes it super easy just to be able to go through them. But as you can see, some of these rooms have a lot of mirrors. Like we have a mirror right here. We have mirrors in this entire wall right here. Mirror right here. In the garage, obviously most garages have an auto close feature. So in this particular house, I didn't have to use one of my door stops out of my car. They had a rock right here, so I was just gonna use that. So I know I can flow through here and then over here. Shouldn't give us any issues. So I feel pretty confident that we're set up. Just making sure that all the lights are still on, that the fans are off. And now let's go ahead and jump into the app. All right, so in the Matterport app here, I'm gonna go to the plus button. I'm just gonna put Mesa Matterport and hit save. And now I gotta connect to the Wi-Fi, so let's go into settings, go into Wi-Fi, and now we're trying to connect to the Matterport. No internet connection. All right, there we go. So we are connected to the Pro now. So I'm gonna start right here on the entryway of the home and kind of get out of the way over here and start scanning. So right now while it's scanning, I'm just kind of mentally thinking the flow that I'm going to go through this house. Do I hit this side first? Either way, it doesn't really matter. I'll probably come up here, get a shot right in front of that mirror, or I'll mark the mirror right after this shot, and then I'm going to come down this way first and then head that way. You know what, maybe I'll just do a scan right here. I won't go that way, so I'm going to start working my way this way. And I'll usually tilt the camera away so that even if I'm still kind of next to it, I can start this scan. All right, so I have the first one, so I'm gonna go in here to mark the mirror. So there's a mirror right there, swap the label. All right. And my goal to efficiently do this particular home, or any Matterport really, is just to keep the camera spinning right after it is done transferring. All right, so on this, yeah, there's nothing. Was there one? Just trying. There are so many mirrors in this house. I'm just trying to think about it. I don't think we're gonna have any issues with this scan here. All right, so I do see there, it will pick up a mirror down there, so I'm gonna need to mark that one. And I'm gonna move this one right here so that it captures, actually, this seems a little loose. Oh, it actually gave me noticed it too. It says camera unstable, tighten the mount on the tripod. All right, so we'll keep scan. All right. So now we'll just step in here, keep it scanning. Now I'm going to come down here. I see that mirror showing up. So I'm going to mark it along the wall, swap. All right. Now you can go in here and preview the scan just to see if it did scan weird. It looks like it scanned fine. Obviously it's just a preview. It doesn't look like the finished quality, but with it a little bit, with the tripod mount not super tight, you know, it can sometimes create, you know, issues with the scan, but it looked like we didn't need to redo that one. All right, so yeah, we are going this way. I got the configurement of this house a little bit confusing because it's like a maze in here from where the front door. All right, so now I'm going to move I like getting a center shot in the room, so I'm just going to put it right there in the middle. I'm going to stand right here because I'm going to be out of the shot. And that should be it for this room. Now that I'm waiting for it to scan, whoops, not that. I'm going to mark the window right here. Swap the label. All right, and then from there, I'm going to come into this bathroom. Always thinking ahead of where I'm going to go next, just to be able to be pretty efficient while you're doing that. Now we already have a rendering of this bathroom, and it's definitely going to pick up mirrors, so I'm going to mark this whole thing right here, mirrors, so hopefully this doesn't have a problem connecting to the other scans. Now from this next scan, we're going to come into the laundry room. Now as you can see, we're trying to strategically place them in spots where people can navigate through. You got to be thinking about where you can navigate based on spots. You don't want to put one on the floor and then somewhere over here where you can't really connect to. If you click down the hallway, you'll likely make it there, but you just wanted a kind of a smooth flow for a potential buyer on this. All right, almost done. All right. We have one window to mark in here, but nothing too crazy. Now from here, I'm gonna scan on this side. I'm gonna come in here, mark the window. I got windows, mirrors. Now there might be a little tiny mirror in the bathroom. All right, it's done. I'm just gonna look at it. Yeah, there's only a wall mirror in there, so I already got that. So now I'm gonna move this to the middle. Now it spins clockwise. So if you're gonna start scanning with it when you're still in the view of the camera, you just want to make sure that you got enough space so that it can spin clockwise without getting you in the shot. All right, so we got that window. Now we're in this room here. Actually, you know what? I got it confused. That's why I was really confused orientation-wise. I marked the mirror in this room and not the mirror down there. So I'll fix it while I scan this. All right, so this mirror that I marked right here, this is actually the window in this room. So let me switch that to window. And then this right here, where you see all this, here I'm going to shorten that window and then put the mirror right here. All right. Now we'll see that we may not need a scan going inside there, as long as I'm confident that we had the data on the floor. So I'm going to look at the preview rendering, and it looks like we got it for the most part. You'll be able to see the toilet, the sink, and the shower. If I scan right there, I mean, I guess that would be a personal call or not. I'm gonna mark the mirror. I'm just trying to think. All right, so if I'm standing here, I'm pretty much seeing everything, so I don't need to go in any further here. It's gonna be the same case with this closet as well. I'm gonna keep moving onto the other side of the house. You can always jump around. Here, I'm gonna do this scan right here. You can always come back to an area, so like if I'm looking at the model and I'm looking at my data points, I'm like, you know what, it would be nice to have a data point right here to be able to see and navigate. Then you, even if you're scanning on that side of the house, you can come back here and it still shouldn't have any problems. The only times that I've had problems is when the sun shifts and like it has a hard time aligning if there's a lot of sun coming into the room and like the maybe there was sun on the floor and it moved. I've had issues like that, but I think for the most part you shouldn't have too many issues with that. All right, so I'm just going to stand right here. All right. So now I'm looking at the model going that way. All right. So I'll be ready to mark that mirror once this is done. I'm going to move it into the center of this room. With rooms, usually it's less scans with rooms that have, it's less scans with homes without furniture that are completely empty. Now, in rooms that have furniture, to get the data of the entire model, a lot of times you have to go on one side of the furniture and move the camera to another. All right, so right here, I'm going to mark this mirror real quick. That entire wall, and then I'm also going to mark the window. All right, and hopefully it shouldn't have any problems. Aligning. Yep, it looks good. So now I'm going to come right here to be able to capture some garage in this room and the kitchen. Let's go ahead and start scanning. Trying to see if there's any additional features that I need to mark right now. I don't think so. Now once this picks up on the wall, I'll mark the mirror as well. There's not going to be data in certain parts of the model, but you can still mark the entire mirror now. I'll probably just scan right here. We'll come over here. So as you can see on the model, there's like a missing data triangle, but you can still mark the mirror of this entire wall. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And no, that's that's like glass. So let me see. So I know it's scanning in the mirror. So right here, you could mark, if it's picking up data outside of this reflection, this is like glass, but it could, actually it didn't. So if there was a reflection and there was data outside, you can mark glasses, windows, or mirrors if you needed to. All right, so I'm going to move right here, capture some of the garage, and in this room, and that should be good. So now I'm going to come in here while that's scanning and mark the mirror, or sorry, that window right there. All right, so far, I don't want to jinx it. Every single scan has worked so far, but you definitely need to make sure that you're marking the features as you go. Sometimes even not marking features, you may not have trouble, but for the most part, if you're going to have significantly more issues if you don't, especially mirrors. Not necessarily so much on the windows that I've seen, but the mirrors for sure will cause problems. All right, now I'm going to move it to the center of the garage. So from there, I think we'll probably be finished with this property in about, 7 scans or so. We just have these 2 rooms left. It's going pretty smooth so far on this one. All right, so now I'm gonna go center shot right here. And I think a big reason for not having issues as well is picking spots that aren't too far away or too close. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job with my distancing on my data points to where it's picking them up. It's giving a good navigation for a potential buyer, while at the same time, staying relatively close so it can connect to other scans. The camera or Matterport, they'll give you warnings if you're too far or if there's little overlap, if you're too close. I think it's a bad experience for a potential buyer if you have way too many data points. Like sometimes if you have issues, you could have to scan much closer. That's not too common these days, but I think it's a bad experience if there's a ton of data points. Obviously, it takes a lot more time. And also having them way too spaced out. I think it's a good practice just to navigate your own model so that you can kind of get an idea of, all right, this is probably a good spot. This is easy to navigate through this particular property. All right. I don't think there's any windows, mirrors in the kitchen. So this right here is going to be the last scan in the kitchen. Then we're going to go into that bonus room, and that should be it. Now from here, I'll probably pick this right here. Now we do have some windows in this room. I can go ahead and mark them. All right. So in this room, I'll probably do 2 scans. I think 1 may not be enough. It's a pretty big room, so I'll scan right here, and I'll scan in the middle right there. And that should be it. All 26 scans. So surprisingly, this model went pretty smooth. I was anticipating potentially having some issues, but since we marked the mirrors in a timely manner, we didn't. All right. So I guess the last thing to consider is if we want to add any 360 scans. Those are like scans in addition to the model of the home. And I think I'll scan the back porch. I think that's a nice selling feature. It's not necessarily going to be part of the model, but we can put it on there as well so that a potential buyer can look at it. And actually, if we really wanted to, you probably could connect it because it's the lighting conditions pretty similar, but you don't want to, if they order a 2D schematic floor plan, you don't really want to mess that up. So, all right, so before you scan, you go into options, go to 360 capture. So make sure it's on 360 capture and hit scan. I guess I'll shut the door. There we go. I'm going to stand right here so I'm not in it. Now these 360 scans, they don't really, so it'll transfer process the image, and there'll be a little bubble that comes up right here. So where did we scan? Well, we scanned it right here, so I'm gonna click on this and then we're gonna place on the map. So now here we have the floating one and we wanna place it where we scanned it, which is right there out back. And that is pretty much it. So I'm gonna go outside, shut down the camera. And I think that's gonna do it for the Matterport 3D floor plan. So now it's just a matter of putting the property back in the condition in which you found it, turning off the lights, locking up the property. But if you guys had any additional questions about shooting Matterports, especially with homes with a bunch of mirrors or scenarios that you run into, feel free to reach out. We'd be more than happy to answer your questions. And we'll see you guys on the next one.